I mean, the real thing is, unless there is official KYC of governors and one person gets one vote, I mean, there is really no efficient way I see for them to pull a truly democratic governance vote because, I
Yeah.
mean, this is
Yeah.
capitalism and
One vote, one wallet. Yeah.
the people with the capital win in capitalism. So if you're making voting decisions based on finances, aka your algo, it's more than likely. I mean, even if we create tools to make it less so, it's still very much so likely going to be in the hands of whales.
Yeah.
And really, the only way I see around this is some sort of maybe encrypted digital identity. So you can only have one identity to one wallet or something, or a true KYC. Otherwise, I don't know how you'd get to a point where you actually have one vote per person and have a truly democratic system.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's also what
That,
I was going to
yeah.
ask is like, how would they even, determine which, is it just going to be based on the wallet address that, who these XGovs are, or would there be any KYC? Like, would there be further, knowledge of who these, each person that's voting and being put in are?
Then we don't want KYC or we're losing our decentralization. So that's another issue that would come up. So I wouldn't want a KYC because I feel like if I KYC, then I'm owed taxes.
Well, I mean,
You
you
know,
might want to be you might want to be
I don't
careful
know if
there
you're ever
anyway.
going to fully get away
yeah.
from that unless you just ignore them until they come knocking.
Yeah, that's a
Oh man,
risky.
I got some
Saw somebody
ways.
say I saw somebody put a tweet out and it said I love NFTs and it said not fucking paying taxes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
that too.
I saw that meme too, but it's like, hey, you can only run for so long, especially with transparent systems where it's not terribly hard to figure out, like, all right, did they post their wallet address anywhere in the public and then tie it to an identity real quick? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's
yeah,
only a matter of time before there's a bunch of tax bots that are going through all these blockchains going like, hey, this wasn't claimed or anything like that, Um,
my last thought on taxes, like I think a way I wouldn't. It would work if they just gave us all a base rate, like y'all, everybody owes 1% if you bought crypto or some shit like that. That might work.
Yeah, it's
Who
super
knows?
complicated right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be really nice in the future. I can already foresee all these different like tax companies where you just plug in a couple of your wallet addresses. It just
Hmm.
goes through everything. It knows like when you entered, when you left, your
That'd
cost
be nice.
basis for everything, and just gives you the data. And it gives you like a CSV file to upload to your taxes to the government. You're good to go.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Man, I don't need nobody laughing at my trading account that much. They don't need to see that data. No, I'm
They
It'll
go.
joking.
pro-
Yeah.
it would
They go.
probably be,
Give you write offs of those losses.
it would probably be a bot
They're
at
like
that point
this
anyway.
guy's set for the next 10 years of write-offs.
I
We
know.
don't need to check on him for a while.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Before I keep going with the little agenda that I have written out, is there anything you two guys want to discuss while I have you here?
I mean, I think your agenda was great. Like it's all the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
I
Perfect.
no,
was
yeah.
thinking, honestly,
Obviously, I want to talk Yodlee's
and Opolis
information and
as well.
then Opulus a little bit.
All right, so let's move on over to Yieldly a little bit. Did either of you get a chance to read what they wrote?
Yep.
All right,
Looked
so
at their new updated, well, their roadmap to migrating over to Teal 5, which actually I've been waiting for. I've been
Teal
of
five
wondering
is
course,
dope.
of
when were the
course,
initial contract pool is going to be swapped over, which it's to me it's good news. This is bullish.
yeah, this is
It's
great news.
Yeah,
For
it's going to
those,
get back to why I was excited for Yieldly in the beginning. And I'm glad I did. Obviously, hindsight's 2020. If I would have saw that this big a dip, maybe I would have sold off some Yieldly and bought back in. But I'm glad I didn't panic sell. Yeah, like I said, I still remain bullish with not only the auto compounding and just each of those pools being moved to TL5, but it just gets them back on that what they can focus on doing what they were going to be, which
Yep.
is a place that anyone can come, stake your tokens, stake your LP, and earn yield.
yeah,
Yeah.
for those that are listening that haven't been keeping up with the information, Yieldly just announced that they're upgrading their pools from Teal 3 to Teal 5. They're also announcing that there will be no more Algo prize game. That'll probably end in the next couple of weeks. And
Let's
this is,
break
of
down
course,
teal five real quick because a lot of people that's technical. Teal three is like we manually got to compound and account for things. Teal five, y'all, is it does it by itself. Look at the Akita pool; it just gives it to you. Go ahead, JT.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, of course, there's more built into Teal 5, but for what
Hmm.
the user experience will be for Yieldly, you basically nailed it on this head. So, yeah, of course, we're not going to have any more Algo prize game, and that's partially because of the governance rewards and
I
the
feel like a
prize game.
little pump would want me to say shout out to Dina.
Well, Oh, that's stupid.
DENA, if y'all don't know. It's the one who
Yeah,
won like what, 7 of the no loss
7 out of
prize
it. Yeah.
drawings.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Lucky, right? Not so lucky because you're a whale, but I mean, but yeah. So there's going to be no more Algo prize game, and that's going to be replaced with a Yieldly Algo LP pool, which is going to be pretty exciting. The Yieldly to Yieldly pool is migrating from Teal 3 to Teal 5, of course. So that's going to be an auto compound pool, which is super exciting. What else do we have? We've got more partner LP pools coming similar to the XET and the Akita pool that they have going right now. There's going to be a bunch more LP pools coming in the future. They also announced community staking pools, which will utilize governance, and users will select new ASAs for these staking pools, which is pretty exciting. And they announced, which gets back to our discussion on rug pulls earlier, a fair distribution pool or fair distribution pools, which are ways for new projects to fairly distribute their tokens to the community, which is great because as of right now, I mean, we saw with Weblin, or I believe it was Weblin, they airdrop tokens. And then those tokens were already on the DEX before they could launch, so everything just got really messed up. It wasn't a fair distribution at all. Plus, they also started selling or rebalancing at the same time. But regardless, if you have a much better way to distribute these tokens to make sure that there aren't whales in the beginning that can just absolutely dump on these people and so forth. I mean, I think that's a absolutely great thing because you do see some of these projects on tiny charts that have 80, 90, 95% holders, and like the top 10 or top 20 holders hold like 90% of the project. So that's certainly not a good thing because even if the project manager itself doesn't rug you, one of those whales could certainly rug you.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. The whole rug. Yeah, the whole rug conversation is just a tough one because it's just like
Yeah, I feel like this
always
also.
like. Yeah, go ahead. It's just no. I'm just like people. Just if y'all listening, please. It's your money that you're working for, which means it's your time and energy.
Yep.
Do more time in studying than you do in shilling out your money for these shit coins. Like that's what I'm hoping that y'all do for the whole ecosystem's sake.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah,
agree more. Go
yeah.
for
What I
it.
would
Go for
say
it.
with Yieldly moving to Teal 5, and just a lot of this is, and this is also where interoperability will help the whole ecosystem because right now there's not many. A lot of people are saying like this. I think here in a few they're only going to have like what 3 staking pools running, and then obviously you have the 2 LP pools, liquidity pools that you have that are on Yieldly because with the no loss lottery going away, you'll still have the NFT prize game, so those aren't leaving. And then other than that, you have 3 pools that are, right now going to be the ones going on for the longer period of time. But outside of that, it's like which tokens would you really want to be staking your Yieldly to earn, other than either more Yieldly, more
Yep.
Algo, and I see a lot of people in the chat are talking about Yieldly and Opulus getting back together.
Yeah.
Opulus would be
I
another
saw
one that
that. Yeah.
people would
Twitter.
stake for. But
Obelisk would be
I
the
wouldn't
best for
be.
me, in my opinion.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I'm not going to be choosing these, new projects that don't have anything out, no project out and no real substance to owning the token. It's kind of like what a lot of people said with Opulus. There's no use case. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if Opulus doesn't have a use case, then why would you be, aping in or getting excited about some of these other ones? So I'm excited to see how they really help maybe get exposure to some of these with the fair distribution and how they help some of these projects that are starting out have a better, I guess, start. Kind of like we saw maybe with like Choice Coin or ARCC and stuff like that. Because you
Well,
didn't see as many rugs there.
yeah, they Choice Coin and ARCC were tough ones because the APY was great to look at it, but the price kept cutting in half.
Yeah.
Um,
And I also
Well,
think there's still tons of good tokens out there like Headline. I mean, we still have,
I
I
like
would
Headline.
assume, Algo5 has their bank token that'll be coming out. I don't know when, but that's one that,
Here's the real question. What I have for people is like, what is your time horizon with these coins? Is it 6 months, 2 weeks, 5 years? So that's something to consider. I feel like when you're doing these staking pools, your
yeah.
strategy, or like, what are you doing with those rewards? Some people will be like, I roll everything in the algo, and I think that's a smart move because that's the whole underlying asset of the whole ecosystem. So I think
yeah.
that's something to consider.
Yeah, anybody, I mean, this isn't financial advice, of course, but
Yeah,
anybody
not
in the
financial
Algorand
advice.
anybody in the Algorand ecosystem Algorand should be your biggest bag. Like it's
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my
you
biggest
shouldn't
bag.
you shouldn't have unless you're in a situation where Algorand was your biggest bag, but you made a great bet on something else and then like on an ASA and then that somehow became your biggest bag. In that case, you probably should take some profits and roll that back into Algorand and make Algorand your biggest bag. But in all reality, these tokens, most of them are not that useful. I mean, and even the ones that are useful are complete speculation that they're going to be good in the future and that they're going to thrive in the future. So, I mean, unless you're short,
Gonna kill them.
oh, for sure, and and regulation could hurt plenty of these tokens. So, I mean, yeah, unless you're a trader, your biggest bag really should be Algorand. Or if
Yeah,
you're really bearish, your biggest bag should be cash. But
Right.
Oh shit, you gonna lose money if it's cash, guaranteed.
well, I mean, you can lose money if your token's dropping 90% like Opulus has.
Right.
I
Thankfully,
know.
that's kind of
Is that
why
a
I'm still
good?
the majority of my average was at like 60, 65, 70 cents. So
You
the
almost have
Yeah.
break
majority of
even.
mine is break even right now. So I've not lost anything, but I know that there's definitely people. I mean, obviously there's people who bought all the way up, but I think one of the guys in the
$4.
test, he sold off Opulus at $5 and just now starting to buy back in. That's a good trade. And that's
That's what
that's the
JT
thing with
did.
these
I mean,
ASAs.
Hey, what's up?
You
shout
can
out
buy
to y'all.
Right, you can buy in and you can ride the hype like DeFi right now. Padre Algo said overbought. Very well could be, especially with the whole market sentiment right now.
Yeah.
I mean, people are bullish on it, but let's be honest, if the market keeps tanking, these things are not going to be they're not just going to keep skyrocketing up. Those are the things where when you have profit, you should take it and roll it into cash, roll it into a stable coin, whatever you want to do, and then wait for a good opportunity to jump in, or put it in something that you believe long term and stake it.
Yep. From
Yeah.
my understanding now, the whole market, because of what the Fed and everybody's doing, we're getting back to fundamentals. It's like the ones who are actually, like we say, utility that actually has a use case in this society will most likely, win in the long term. With all this, interest rate scares and all these hikes that's happening. I mean, that's something to be aware and pay attention to.
The only thing I would say that says that that's not true, that we're back to fundamentals, is that Dogecoin is still ranked 10 and Shiba Inu is ranked 15.
Well,
And
I'll say this. I like to talk about those two. Like
And
people
Algorand's
forget, Dogecoin been around since like 2017, and essentially it's a clone of Bitcoin that has a bigger, number supply. It has been around, and Shiba is a clone of it, but those two make sense in terms of community. I don't say they're fundamentally good, but I know more people that know about Dogecoin than Algorand. More people know about Shiba Inu than Algorand. So, and mind share, if you think about mind share, they have mind share with people.
I unfortunately think more people know about SafeMoon than Algorand, which is
Or SafeMoon, that's a
just
great
really
one.
unfortunate. Like my
Yeah,
brother, honestly, my brother, for example, he's, I've been trying to get him into investing for years and years. And then like, what was it? Halfway through the last year when we were in the middle of the bull market, he's texting me and he's like, yo, man, you heard anything about SafeMoon? And I was like, bro, please stop it. Like
here's one question I would have is what if, and we're seeing this already happen just with some of the suppression of news with Algorand. What if 5 years down the road, Algorand is still not even, it may be ranked up high, but it's still not even talked about and people don't really know it because it's just the base layer that everyone uses, but it's not the hype thing that gets people into
I'll say this. I got to answer. You got me hyped. I always go back to Microsoft or MicroStrategy, even better, Michael Saylor.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell that is, right? But they are a global competitor in IT software. So it depends what type of investors we're going to have. No one buys MicroStrategy that I know in like a regular people, but corporations use their software technology. Therefore, they print $50-60 million of cash every year. So I feel like Algorand is more of that type of thing where the public might not buy it, but institutionals will buy it.
Yeah.
That's where Bitcoin is at.
I'm going to completely agree. And you got to think, what is the value proposition of the Algorand token? And at its base layer, the Algorand token gives the holder of that token the ability to partake in consensus of this network. And it also gives the holder the ability to partake in the governance structure of the foundation. And it also is the main token or the only token that is used to process the fees on the network. Yeah. So if this network is going to become the global network for finances and it becomes a multi-trillion-dollar network, corporations and governments and other industry leaders that are using the network and need the network to remain secure for whatever projects they're developing on the network are going to want to hold Algorand to partake in consensus, to partake in governance, and to pay their transaction fees. So that is the base layer of the value proposition of the token. So I completely agree that eventually, and it's not just solely specific to Algorand, I think all blockchain technologies in the next 5 to 10 years will not even be talked about. It'll just be the technology these things are, because we don't talk about the internet every time we're using the internet. We just go use Twitter, or we go use this program we're on right here, but we're not
We just
talking.
turn the light on. We don't talk about electricity. We just
We
turn
don't
the
talk
light
about
on.
the technology beneath
Yeah.
what makes it work. Exactly. But as you said, Seawill, there will be companies that are investing in that technology because they need it to continue for their business structure. And so that alone makes me super bullish, because I do believe that Algorand will become the central hub, or decentralized hub, we should say, for the global financial structure. So there's going to be a lot of reasons for governments and institutions and industry leaders to want to hold the token.
If you take one company, PayPal or Square, if they made one deal with Algorand with a stable coin, game over. And that's how much big of a market share those companies have and how much pool that they have. So,
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Like there was a news about I saw in your notes too, the 6 companies that are using Algorand at El Salvador with wrap
Six
Bitcoin.
banks. Yeah.
6 banks, yeah. That is huge. You know,
Yeah.
that's who needs to be using other, because they can't use Shiba Inu, you know,
And that's where I
Oh,
was
here it
saying,
is. Yeah.
with the news suppression, obviously there, that article says it, but when Bitcoin was considered legal tender in El Salvador, no one was really talking about right after that the agreement that Algorand made with Koi banks to
Yep.
build out the blockchain infrastructure and to use Algorand. Because right now they're wrapping Bitcoin and doing the transactions though on Algorand, but you don't hear that in the mainstream. You just hear oh, El Salvador is using Bitcoin. Oh, the president keeps buying the dip. He's buying the dip. Like
Yep.
that's all you hear, but you don't hear how it's actually like what they're using it for. And I think it definitely brings a lot of attention in that article to to Silvio's trip down in South America and all the people, all the countries he talked to and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Here, check this out. I got another point too that I'm pulling on bullishness. I'm so bullish right now. I'm hyped.
Yeah, go
If
for
you
it.
look at Bitcoin again, right? And again, I'm always a Michael Saylor bull. I love his information, so y'all go look him up. But he breaks it down. He's talking about, if you think about what is one asset that everybody in the world can buy, whether in Nigeria, whether in London, whether in America, or wherever else, they can buy Bitcoin. And then if you can put that on there, that Algorand is now being used with that. That is amazing. Not everybody can buy Apple stock and Nike stock because it's not a New York Stock Exchange or they're not in this country. So buying Bitcoin and then powering it with Algorand, that is like that's the best thing I can think of. That's smart.
No, you make a great point that Bitcoin is the most accessible crypto in the world. So that is part of the reason people are still attracted to it. You can't get Algorand as easily as you can get Bitcoin. I mean, we have a little bit of a luxury being where we are in the world because we can access Algorand, but a lot of people use those ATMs to access their cryptocurrencies, and a lot of those ATMs only support Bitcoin, sometimes Litecoin.
Ethereum.
Actually, the one down the street from me just got Algorand in it. They have like 20 or 30 coins now, but
Nice.
I know that's not the normal. Most of them are just Bitcoin ATMs.
Yeah, the one at my house by my house only has the 3 main: Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I
Yep.
checked it out. But yeah,
And that's
that's how I'm seeing it. It's like, yeah, the Lightning network plugged in to the Algorand network.
Yeah. And going back to your first comment, when we kind of talked about interoperability, and that's where I was kind of like, you know, it may still be always that Ethereum and Bitcoin or what, it may not even be Ethereum. It could be Solana or Cardano or something else. I don't know. But what if one of these other hype projects just is what people think they're using and they love using just because of, whatever reason they can make money off of it. They're flipping, they're trading, whatever it is, or they're just using their everyday business and and transacting their money. But at the base of it, Algorand is the one facilitating and make sure all those transactions are secure, they're fast, they're done, and everything is going through on it, but it never really gets to that hype level. Because that's what everybody's question. I mean, most of the people
Mm-hmm.
I get that I've told people about Algorand is they're like, when is it going to do what, Ethereum did. And part of me thinks that it could, for a long time, just kind of be, silently building behind the scenes. And obviously the people who are in the know, I would say, that do their research and study Algorand will know what they're holding and know that it's worth something. But one day I do think the switch will flip, and owning Algorand will be like owning the top stock right now. You could Amazon.
Well, if you look at it, Ethereum has been out since 2013, or not 13 but 16, so they got more time, and they already split twice. So Algorand, coming in 2019, it's still a baby in the sense of how long it's been in the market. So that's why I'm so I think in 2030 is bullish.
You'll have people that want to stick with Ethereum 1 versus Ethereum 2 because they'll be like, no, we make more money on ETH 1. I don't want to go to ETH 2 and lose all that fees. True. I want to make the gas fees.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to proof of stake, so that shit's about to be. I mean, if
maybe
I'll say if. Excuse me, let me not speak too fast.
Yeah. I mean, did they recently come out saying that it might not take it might take another 5 or 6 years to actually make the transition?
Yeah,
it's kind of wild.
Algorand.
Yeah, it's great for Algorand. I want to make a little bit of a sidetrack a little bit and just talk about Algo5 real quick, because they did just recently announce a bunch of new things coming. And in Q1 of 2022, Algo5 Dex is launching, and this launch date is February 21st, 2022. The Algo5 Dex will be a game changer for the ecosystem, bringing innovations that do not exist on the Algorand blockchain. And what are those? The first key improvement of the Algo5 Dex is composability. Users will be able to compose multiple swap trades into a single atomic group transaction, allowing for seamless arbitrage trading and smart order routing. Moreover, this composability will be utilized by the V2 release of the Algofi lending market. Second, the Algo5 Dex will support flash loans. Flash loans are loans of assets from DEX pools that must be paid back within the same group transaction plus a fee. Arbitrage traders will use flash loans to keep the prices on Algo5 pools, while LPers will earn additional fees from the usage of flash loans. With flash loans, the Algo5 Dex will have the fairest pricing on Algorand, and they touch on something a little bit deeper, which is pretty sweet. Let me skip this part right here. And let me skip this part right here. The Algofi Nano swap. This is super exciting. The launch of Stable, their native stablecoin, the first decentralized stablecoin on the Algorand blockchain, brought the total number of stables to 3 on the Algorand network, including USDC and USDT, and there's also going to be XUSD launching soon with XBacked and a lot of other stablecoins like Guard. So with the number of stablecoins on Algorand growing, it's clear the community needs a stable swap facility to improve stable pair swapping. Stable pairs are asset pairs where the exchange ratio should be roughly constant. For example, stable versus USDC should trade roughly 1-to-1. Trading stable pair... Sorry, one second.
Go ahead.
No, it's cool. Trading stable pairs on traditional dexes result in unnecessary amounts of slippage which drives up transaction costs. To respond to this need, the team is building Algo5 Nano Swap, a stable pool that will charge 1/6 the fees, or 0.05%, and reduce slippage. Algo5 estimates this will reduce the transaction costs of trading stable pairs by 100x. NanoSwap will be the cheapest place to trade stablecoins, which is huge because, I know this doesn't excite a lot of people, but for those that don't know, there are lots of price differences among stablecoins, and sometimes you'll switch from USDC, you'll have, say, $1,000 USDC, and you'll want to switch to USDT because you're bringing it to another exchange, and the trading pair is only in USDT, and you're getting much less USDT. Maybe you're only getting 975 or something because the pegs aren't absolute. So this will help maintain those pegs and will also make it exponentially cheaper. And another update they're doing is an update to their V2 lending protocol, which is absolutely amazing in my opinion, because they're adding ledger support, Algorand governance support, which in my opinion it means that you'll be able to supply Algorand as collateral and still participate in governance, which is absolutely huge. So because right now you can't do anything else with your Algorand governance tokens, which is unfortunate. Enhance security with inner transactions, reduce transaction group size, all these things that, in my opinion, are going to make Algofi probably one of the best dexes on Algorand. I have high hopes for Humble Swap as well, but it'll be really interesting to see how maybe Tiny Man catches up with a lot of this, even though they're the first mover. But this, in my opinion, is a much better platform, or will be a much better platform than Tiny Man is currently. And yeah, I'd really love to see how this. The long-term roadmap is the launch date is mid-June for the V2 lending protocol. The DEX is coming next month. Q3, the public sale of the bank token launches, which is their governance token. Yeah, I think it's going to be a giant year for Algofi and Algorand more specifically. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
First
I was
off,
gonna say.
it's a quick thing, and then
Go
I
ahead, David.
can see where you can go into it. Isn't it funny that like they're gonna name it the Algo5 Dex, and it's probably gonna come out faster than the Algo Dex. Is it gonna have the same name?
He's like, bah, bah, bah,
Sorry,
shoot
I
him
had
up.
to.
Shots
Like,
fired. Shots
right,
fired.
people are gonna be like giving him
That
that
is
guy
funny.
a lot of
He's been
stuff
building for 9
on
months.
Twitter.
You know, I like Alex. He's never tried to build anything on blockchain before. I guess my only criticism is really take a note from Algofi here. They were just quietly building, and they were planning this for months and didn't let anybody know. And now they're like, hey, in 2 weeks we're gonna have a Dex. You know what I mean? And like, in reality, I know it's a little different because they already had a lot of funding and a lot of the support. So he kind of had to, at least in the beginning, get the word out about his idea to create the attention that he needed to gain the funding that he needed. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, at a certain point, you just got to put your head down and get that product out there. You know what I mean?
Let me talk shit too real quick. Two
Go
things.
for it. Yeah,
Remember, Algodex too also prided himself. Alex prided himself in not taking money. I got all those tweets on there. In the very beginning, that's what he was saying. But he took the money, so he did switch up, and it's still not out. So that is funny.
Yeah.
But what I was very excited about this Algofi update, exactly what you said, got me excited, is that the fees, like when I was swapping stable out, I lose 10% of the value every single time. It was like you do $1,000, you get $990. So if we can fix that, that would be huge. And that's what I saw on there. I'm like, let's go.
And what's going to be really amazing is this product working in conjunction with a product that Algomint is going to launch, which is basically like a stablecoin basket, it's going to be amazing. It's basically just going to be exactly like it sounds, a basket of all of the various stablecoins on Algorand, which would allow you to trade in and out of any stablecoin with ease and help maintain of all of the pegs of them. So in my opinion, I believe they're actually going to create their own wrapped token based on that basket. So the basket will be like 10 different or however many stable coins there are in the network. The basket will be full of those stable coins, and then they'll have one token representing that basket.
I have a question for y'all. I don't know. I haven't tried it. So when we got USDC, there's no way that we can send this USDC, say, to like crypto.com, right? It's not the same as the ERC. You can't. They're not interoperable.
That depends on, I don't use crypto.com, but that depends on crypto.com because I know other exchanges do accept Algorand USDC, Qcoin, for example, and I believe MEXC, they both accept USDC Algorand version. You just have to go when you're depositing, make sure you select Algorand so you get the right deposit address. And same thing if you're withdrawing off of an exchange, you just want to make sure you're withdrawing to the correct addresses. They usually have like a Dropbox so you can select Algorand. I know on KuCoin, if you just put in the address, it'll know it's an Algorand address and it'll fill that spot automatically, which is pretty cool.
Good to know.
But yeah, I would definitely.
I know Coinbase is only ERC. Like they only want that, and I feel like these bigger centralized exchanges. That's what they do. They're pumping. I mean, honestly, they're pumping their own product because that they're in a lot of these projects early, and especially with how much they garner from fees of people buying these things, that's the reason why that's why you don't see hardly any ASAs on Coinbase, is because they ain't going to make the money there. They're making the money on all the Ethereum tokens that get created and
I mean, as much as I shouldn't be, because I mean, Coinbase kind of sucks, but to be fair to them, they are also like slow movers when it comes to this type of stuff. They're usually the last ones to list certain tokens. And really the last ones to make certain changes. And I think it's partially really because they're already making enough money that they don't have enough incentive to be the first movers there. So I do think
bought a $100 million home
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I think they will catch up as other exchanges are including support for Algorand assets. I know KuCoin does, MEXC does. Um, what other ones? There's a couple other ones that at least have one. What is it? There's Planet Watch. Planet Watch is on a Bitfinex. Planet Watch is on Bitfinex, which is interesting.
It is.
Um,
Huh.
but yeah, so I think Coinbase will catch up, but I do think they're going to be one of the last ones to catch up for sure.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Algo5. I like that platform. I feel secure using it. Haven't had any issues, any serious issues, and I've been using it since it launched.
I love KuCoin. I've been using that for about 4 or 5 years now. They launched in 2017, and I've been an avid user ever since, to be honest. Uh, we've got Damian Brown here asking, it's one of the only questions I see. How many algos do you guys expect for Governance 3 to be locked? And that's a really interesting question. And I'll start with my answer. I personally believe if we get a lot more if there's a lot more ability for us to use our Algorand governance tokens in various DeFi products, like I know the Guard token is coming out, which is a way that we can borrow against our governance tokens as collateral. As we just read with Algofi, they are going to be incorporating a way where you can partake in governance. So if there are more ways where you can use your algo governance in governance and elsewhere in the DeFi ecosystem, then I think it'll be either the same or even more algos than are currently in it. Because why would you not double dip if you could? If you can get your rewards from governance and you can still use those potential Algorand in other, whether you're borrowing against it or actually using a wrapped version of it or whatever, and you can use that in other areas of DeFi, why would you not do both? So I think it'll be probably the same because it was what, like 50% that signed up, which is a lot. So it'll probably be the same or maybe a little bit more, but I couldn't imagine it would be a lot less.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
would say,
Damian Brown's a bull for Algo.
yeah, you got 3.1 billion algos, staked, and then this total supply right now is, where's it at? 6.5 billion. So you almost have almost half right now of the supply that's out there locked in governance. I feel like it depends upon whatever this vote, with this XGov actually goes through and what the rewards look like. Because I know a lot of people, even though we haven't seen the total committed stake decrease, I know a lot of people were kind of frustrated that the APY that you got paid dropped, almost what 7%, 6% when you include participation rewards. So I know that a lot of people were kind of bummed that it wasn't as high of an amount that you were going to earn. And so I'd be interested to see, by the end of this period, if that number drops, kind of like we saw with some people exiting or just maybe people not voting and stuff like that. But I would expect to see it, I feel like, close to where it's at now, if not more, just because by then obviously we're going to have more tokens out as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's going to go up just based on the Algorand community and everybody. It's all going up, other than the price right now. But but I think it'll go up personally. I don't see no reason why it wouldn't. Again, I'm always looking for Cardano and Solana to not do its job, which always helps out the ones that are doing their job. So
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Honestly, how much time do you guys have left here?
I got some time.
I got some
question.
time.
Awesome. Do you guys see any questions in the chat? If not, I mean, I do have a couple things we could discuss real quick.
What was it? The Octorand. I still haven't looked that up yet. Yeah, I guess it's an NFT series. So I mean,
I think we were going to touch on Opulus a little bit. I don't know if y'all wanted to still touch on that.
Yeah, Opulus. Yeah, price dropped 90%. If you can pull the chart up, JT.
Yeah.